Book of Heaven. Volume 9. 14 October to 25 November 1909. Page 17 to 23. October 14, 1909. Proofs that it is Jesus that goes to Luisa. Continuing in my usual state, I seemed to find myself with a baby in my arms, and from one they became three, and I felt all immersed in them. Now, in the morning, when the confessor came, he asked me whether Jesus had come, and I told him what is written above, without adding anything else. The confessor told me, "Didn't they tell you anything? Didn't you understand anything?" And I can't say it well. And he continued, "The whole Trinity was here and you can say nothing? You have become more stupid, it shows that these are dreams." And yes, it is true that they are dreams. He continued to say other things, and while the confessor was speaking, I felt clasped, so very tightly, by the arms of Jesus, to the point of losing consciousness, and Jesus told me, "Who is it that wants to molest my daughter?" And Father is right. Since I am unable to say anything, they have no sign that it is Jesus Christ that comes to me. And Jesus continued, "I act with you as the sea would with a person who would go and dive into the depth of the sea. I plunge all of you into my being, in such a way that all of your senses remain inundated, and in such a way, that if you want to speak of my immensity, depth and height, you can only say that it was so great that your sight was lost. If you want to speak of my delights, of my qualities, you can say that they are such and so many, that as you went about opening your mouth to count them, you were drowned in them, and so with all the rest. Besides, what is this? I have given no sign that it was I." False. Who has kept you in bed for 22 years without breaking you, and with full calm and patience? Has it perhaps been their virtue, or my virtue? And what about the tests they made during the first years of this state of yours, or making you remain immobile for 10, 7, or 18 days without taking any of the necessary nourishments? Were they perhaps the ones who maintained you, or was it I? Then, since Father had called me, I returned into myself. Then, as the confessors celebrated Holy Mass, I received communion, and Jesus came back. I lamented to Jesus that he was not coming as before, that the great love he had for me seemed to have turned into coldness. It is true that as I lament to you, you always give excuses, that you want to chastise and this is why you do not come, but I don't believe it. Who knows what evil there is in my soul, and because of it you do not come. Tell me at least, for at any cost, even of giving my life, I will remove it, but without you I cannot be. Think what you want. In this way I cannot go on, either with you on earth, or with you in heaven." And blessed Jesus, interrupting me, told me, calm yourself, I am not far away from you, but I am always with you. You do not always see me, but I am always with you. Even more, I am in your inmost heart in order to rest, and as you look for me and bear my privations with patience, you surround me with flowers to cheer me and make me rest more peacefully. And while he was saying this, it seemed that there were many varieties of flowers around Jesus, which almost concealed him. Then he added, "You don't believe that I keep you deprived of me in order to chastise, yet it is so. When you least expect it, you will hear of the things that will happen." And while saying this, he showed me, in the world, wars, revolutions against the church, churches on fire, and this was almost imminent. November 2, 1909. One should never look at the past, but at the present. Continuing in my usual state, I was thinking about my things of the past, and blessed Jesus, making himself seen for just a little, told me, "My daughter, do not look at the past, because the past is already in me and can be of distraction for you, and it can make you mistake that little bit of path that is left for you to cover. In fact, your turning to the past makes you slow your pace on the present journey, and so you lose time and do not advance on your way. On the other hand, by looking only at the present, you will have more courage, you will remain more closely united with me, you will advance more on your path, and there will be no danger of your being mistaken." November 4, 1909. With his beatitude, God renders all heaven blissful, because everything is harmony in him. Having received communion, I was saying to my adorable Jesus, I am now tightly united with you, even more, I am identified with you. If we are one single thing, I leave my being in you, and I take yours. So I leave you my mind, and I take yours. I leave you my eyes, my mouth, my heart, my hands, my steps. Oh! How happy I will be from now on! I will think with your mind, I will look with your eyes, I will speak with your mouth, I will love with your heart, I will work with your hands, I will walk with your feet. And if something comes to me, I will say, I left my being in Jesus and I took his own. Go to Jesus, and he will answer you for me. Oh, how blissful I feel! Ah yes, I take from you also your beatitude, isn't it true, Jesus? But, my life and my good, with your beatitude you render all heaven blissful, while if I take your beatitude I make no one blissful. And Jesus told me, my daughter, you too, by taking all of my being along with my beatitude, can make others blissful. Why has my being the virtue of beatifying? Because everything is harmony in me. One virtue harmonizes with the other, justice with mercy, sanctity with beauty, wisdom with strength, immensity with depth and height, and so with all the rest. Everything is harmony in me, nothing is discordant. These harmonies make me blissful and I beatify all those who draw near me. So, as you take my being, be careful that all virtues harmonize among themselves, and this harmony will communicate beatitude to whomever draws near you, because in seeing goodness, sweetness, patience, charity and equality in everything in you, they will feel blissful being near you. November 6, 1909. The privation of Jesus purifies and consumes the soul. I was lamenting to Jesus because of his privations, and making himself seen for just a little, he told me, my daughter, the cross unites the soul ever more closely to me. These privations that you suffer make you fly above yourself, because not finding the one whom you love in you, life becomes boring to you, all the things that surround you annoy you, and you have nothing on which to lean. The one on whom alone you used to lean seems to be missing in you, and therefore the soul keeps flying and flying, until she is purged of everything, to the point of being consumed. And in these consummations your Jesus will give you the final kiss and you will find yourself in heaven. Aren't you happy? November 9, 1909. Amusement of Jesus when the soul operates together with him. As I was in my usual state, I seemed to see our Lord extending his arms within me, and playing, with his hands, a little sonata with an organ while being inside of me. Jesus amused himself in playing. I said to him, "Oh, how well you amuse yourself." And Jesus, "Yes, I do. You must know that since you have done your things together with me, that is, you have loved me with my love, you have adored me with my adorations, you have repaired me with my own reparations, and so with all the rest. Things are immense in you, just as my own, and this union in operating has formed this organ. However, every time you suffer something more, you add one more key, and I immediately come to play my little sonata, to see what sound this new key produces, and I enjoy one more amusement. Therefore, the more you suffer, the more harmony you add to my organ, and I amuse myself more. November 16, 1909. Sin is the only disorder in the soul. After spending bitter days of privation, having received communion, I was lamenting to blessed Jesus, saying to him, "It really seems you want to leave me completely, but, at least tell me, do you want me to go out of this state? Who knows what disorder there is in me that you have moved away? Tell me, for I promise you from the heart, I will be more good." And Jesus, "My daughter, do not become alarmed. When I make you lose consciousness, remain peaceful. When I don't, remain more peaceful, without wasting time. Whatever happens to you, take everything from my hands. Can I not suspend your state for a few days? As for the disorder, I would have told you. Do you know what puts disorder in the soul? Only sin, even the slightest. Oh, how it deforms her, discolors her, debilitates her. But the interior states, the privations, do no harm to her. Therefore, be careful not to offend me, even slightly, and have no fear of disorder in your soul. And but, Lord, there must be something bad in me. Before, you did nothing but come and go, and in these visits, sharing of crosses, of nails, of thorns. But when nature has become so used to them to the point of considering them natural, so much so, that suffering is easier for her than not suffering, you withdraw. How is it possible that there is nothing grave in me? And Jesus, benignly, told me, listen, my daughter, I had to dispose your soul to make you reach this point of delighting in suffering, so as to do my work. Therefore I had to test you, surprise you, load you with sufferings, so that your nature might rise again to new life. This work I have completed, since the participation in my pains has remained in you permanently, now more, now less. Now, having completed this work, I am enjoying it. Don't you want me to rest? Listen, do not want to think about it. Let your Jesus do it, who loves you very much. I know when my crafting is necessary in you, and when I must rest from my work. November 20, 1909. Human and Divine Views of the Cross. As I was in my usual state, my sweet Jesus came for just a little, and told me, my daughter, one who takes the cross according to human views finds it muddy, and therefore heavier and more bitter. On the other hand, one who takes the cross according to divine views finds it full of light and sweet. In fact, the human views are without grace, strength and light, therefore she has the boldness to say, why did that person do that wrong to me? Why did this one cause me this displeasure, this calumny? And the soul fills herself with indignation, with anger, with revenge, and so the cross becomes muddy, dark, heavy and bitter. On the other hand, the divine views are full of grace, of strength and of light, therefore she does not have the boldness to say, Lord, why did you do this to me? On the contrary, she humbles herself, she resigns herself, and the cross becomes light and brings her light and sweetness. November 25, 1909. Both in Jesus and in souls, the first crafting is done by love. Finding myself in my usual state, I was thinking about the agony of Jesus in the garden. And blessed Jesus, making himself seen for just a little, told me, my daughter, men did nothing but work the skin of my humanity, while the eternal love worked all of my interior. So, in my agony, the eternal love, the immense love, the incalculable love, the hidden love, not men, opened large wounds in me, pierced me with flaming nails, crowned me with burning thorns, made me drink boiling gall. And my humanity, unable to contain so many different martyrdoms at the same time, poured out large streams of blood. It writhed, and reached the point of saying, Father, if it is possible, let this chalice pass from me. Yet, not my will, but yours be done, which it did not do in the rest of the Passion. Everything I suffered during the course of the Passion, I suffered altogether in the agony, but in a more intense, more painful, more intimate way, because love penetrated deep into the marrow of my bones and into the most intimate fibers of my heart, which creatures could never reach. But love reaches everything. There is nothing that can resist it. So, my first executioner was love. This is why in the course of my passion there was not even a reproachful glance in me toward those who acted as my executioners, because I had a more cruel, more active executioner in me, love. And where the external executioners could not reach, or a little part of me was spared, love would continue its work and spare me nothing. This happens in all souls. The first work is done by love, and once love has worked her and filled her with itself, what appears on the outside is nothing but the outpouring of the crafting that love has performed inside.